not sure how well this format will work out, but I thought it would be fun to try. So, this is something, if you have followed me off of YouTube on Instagram or Substack or Tumblr or anywhere like that, I do mention the way that I look a lot and have a lot of issue with that. So I thought maybe I would talk about kind of like insecurity in general and just like society and the value that's like put on the way that people look and like the pressure people constantly give you about looking a certain way or not. Because for me, it's like it can go two ways where like some days I will feel very good about the way I look, but probably more often than not, I will not feel good at all about it. And I feel like for me this started at a very, very young age, kind of just from having random people be very critical of the way that I look my entire life. And it can be pretty difficult to deal with, even if you're trying to decide you don't care what other people think. What other people think directly impacts like everything in your life all the time. Like people can decide before you even talk to them if they like you or not, and can just like decide you seem weird based on more or less just the way that you look, which is very stressful for me to wonder if any failure or shortcoming in my life, or just people disliking me, is coming from the way that I look. And like it's a hard thing to talk about because people will go like immediately into saying that like everyone is like perfect and beautiful in their own way, and like that's kind of just like not the point of it, because even if you can find beauty in everyone, like you could just look at celebrities or influencers or musicians or anything, and you can immediately tell that certain aesthetic qualities are valued way higher than other ones. And that's not to say that like anyone who doesn't fit that looks horrible, but I think it genuinely does affect how your life turns out, even if it's just like, will you get that promotion over someone else if you have the same qualifications? That there's like genuine research behind it that someone more attractive is more likely to get anything and everything. And it's like a constant thought in the back of my mind. It's like a sickness that never goes away. This like just being hyper aware. So it's like people will think you're implying you like look horrible when you say you're like insecure about things, but it doesn't have to be like that extreme. Like people could generally dislike the way someone looks just from them being like mid society has raised the standards so high that just being average and having literally nothing wrong with how you look is like demonized as like horrifically ugly now. So if you do have something that you don't like about yourself, it's even worse. Like then if someone who's just average is viewed as very ugly, then like if you have any flaws, then what are you? Like that's kind of the thought process. And it is like a bit of like a touch grass situation, like it's thinking about it way too hard on too many angles that like most people are just going to ignore, and that's definitely true. But I feel like it is really easy to get like caught up in that now, especially if you get a lot of criticism about how you look in general. Like it's hard to not just listen to what people are continuously saying about how you look, or even just your worse luck than other people, of like just randomly having people say or be mean at random, like in public, whereas other people might have better experiences. So it's kind of like just hard to know which people to believe, because this is the other problem, is you'll get like two extremes of like people who think everyone on earth is like perfect and beautiful in every way, and that everyone on earth is like a 10 out of 10, or people who will say like it is completely over, like you're the ugliest person ever, like there's no hope for you ever. And you know, you could say logically both of these are unlikely to be true. Like I do not think either of these could be true for most people. Like most people must be some sort of average for the word average to make sense, right? You know, everything is average at everything on average. But I feel like something about the human mind does not want you to be average. Like even if it is completely self-destructive, it like feels more comforting to think you're like the ugliest person ever, like a standout worst ever, because that is kind of still like placing some sort of self-importance over yourself to say that you like hate yourself that much, or you hate the way you look that much, like over just saying that you're mid. And I think this is a problem that a lot of people have, including myself, where I don't feel that I particularly look above average in any aspect, and something in my brain won't let me say that I just look average. So the only thing left is that everyone who says that I look horrible must be right, and like this genuinely feels better mentally than just saying that like you're mid. And I don't know, it's like I feel like all this stuff is saying like the human see so many people's faces every day online and on their phone. It's not meant to be able to see, hundreds of mirror reflections, perfect mirrors in every bathroom, or tons of pictures that like your family or friends take. Like all this was like not meant to happen in nature. So it makes sense that like so many issues come up from this. But it's really, it just sucks basically not to be black-pilled, but it is just, it's hard to feel as though you have missed out on something your whole life, whether or not it is true or not. Sometimes it just feels like it's true, and you just want someone to feel the same way you do. It's kind of the how I feel about it. It's like if you feel really bad about yourself and you don't believe all the positivity talk at the moment, it doesn't feel really helpful for someone to respond with something that kind of feels like magical thinking in saying that everyone is perfect. And even if overall it is bad to get insulted, it can feel like all of your thoughts and feelings are being justified if someone insults you a little bit, which is like a weird thing because the insult still sticks with you and like can hurt you still and later. But they just gotta be like that. Anyways, I don't know if I should talk about this the whole time, but I have posted about it a bit. But I feel like thinking about it and acknowledging that you can't accurately judge your own appearance. Other people, whether they're positive or negative, have motive to not be honest with you. And you can't really know for certain if anything that happens is really because of the way you look or not. That it might just not be worth it to think about. But that's the hard part of just how do you not to think about something you normally think about. But it would be worthwhile to try not to think about certain things, of course. And I don't know if it's like to a minor extent, like, well, I guess it depends, but I feel like trying to fix any fixable problems can be helpful. Like, I got Invisalign, and well, these yellow ass lights are not doing my teeth any favors. Ignore that, but my teeth used to be a lot more crooked. I'm still like halfway through, so my teeth will still get straighter, but it has made a really big difference. And since I used elastics, face is much bigger than their jaw. And this is something that when I went to the orthodontist, they said, like, hypothetically, I could get surgery to fix this, like double jaw surgery, but that the only option, more or less, I would have is moving my jaw back instead of moving this area forward, which you kind of put it as like I would turn into like a Bob's Burgers, like chinless type character, and that it should be a last resort if like absolutely nothing at all is helping my teeth, and that on an aesthetic level it would be much worse for me. So it's like, I don't know, finding out you kind of don't have any career option definitely sucks, but also not getting jaw surgery is probably a good thing because that looks terrifying. So beyond that, my only option would be like a plastic surgeon. And no offense to anyone who has gotten cheek implants, but after months of looking at surgeons that do it, the before and afters, it either looks like literally nothing has happened, like it's so small, makes so little difference that it's like, what was even the point? Like, you can't tell at all. Or if it's a big implant and you can't tell the difference, it's like an implant is replicating bone and not fat. So it's like giant bulging bone coming from your face, which to me looks really unnatural and weird. If someone had like a super like angular runway model type face, it could look good, I think, but I think that would be an obvious mistake in my situation, which would leave the only other option for me to be fat transfer. And the before and afters of this look great, but the problem is that the fat reabsorbs like most of the time. And I know people post about stuff more when they're having a problem, but of people on like Reddit or forums or anywhere talking about getting a facial fat transfer, more or less everyone who posts about this will say like all of the fat went away. Of course, there has to be like some people where it works out really great, but I could not find any posts with pictures saying that. So it is a big risk of just wasting your money, and also a lot of weird risks of like, okay, what if like one side of your face holds on to the fat better than the other? So you have like a chubby bunny cheek on one side, and then the other side, like all the fat just dies. And I guess the big risk is the fat embolism thing, where I guess you just like have a stroke and die, which, you know, that would suck down, honestly. But yeah, so basically it just like sucks when there's no good option.